I just bought the absolute cheapest Nissan Hardbody on Facebook Marketplace, and it's not this one. This absolute gem right here. Coincidentally, the worst 4x4 pickup truck I could find on Marketplace. I got this thing for $350, and there's a reason why. Okay, come a little closer. Let me show you guys around this thing. It's surprisingly not that rusty. It's bubbling through a little bit down here. We'll fix that later. As you can see, it's well, it's got some quirks. The interior, the guy loved Doritos, and if you take a look behind the seat here, also loved Mountain Dew, and Happy Feet. I don't know what this is. This is it's a game, Happy Feet, the board game. As you can see, the seat, quick disconnect. She's a 5-speed manual, 4x4. That's a good selling point on this bad boy. And it's dirty. This little, I don't know what's up with that guy. He's JB welded to the actual dash. Gonna have to deal with that later. But I mean, there's only one crack in the dash. Don't look at the steering column. Don't look too close. The paint hasn't held up the best in some spots, and there's some cosmetic blemishes. Is like a little bit of rust. Looking around, the tag is from 2010, so this thing's been off the road a bit. This is the bad side. Don't look at this side. As you can see, 4 out of 6 lug nuts. That's pretty good. That's more than half on this mismatched wheel. A little moss colony growing here. It's, you know, kind of returning to nature. And to top it all off, she doesn't run. So, yeah, I'm not regretting my decision at all. So one of the main reasons that I bought this truck is that it really is actually, it may look like it has 1 million miles on it, but actually only has 144,000 miles. There are 144,000 of possibly the roughest miles ever put on a vehicle, but it's definitely got a lot of life left in it. Let me pop the hood here. And take a look. It's got the legendary Nissan Z24 4-cylinder. These things are known for running forever. As you can see, it's a little crusty under here also, but it's got good bones. And again, this engine only 144,000 miles. You can't really tell under the layer of dust. In fact, like, this is blue under here. I don't know if you can tell, but it's blue. And if you take a look under this battery tray, their old battery leaked really bad. So the battery acid corroded away all of this. So this is just classic. This is just Nissan. This is what you get. And you can see, you know, it's ventilated battery tray. You can see right down through the floor there. Yeah, and this is the negative cable, by the way. Red is negative. Remember that. Yep. And this is a great purchase that I have made here. But yeah, Nissan Z24 4-cylinder. These are known to be super reliable. Of course, I want to get going on the engine stuff on this truck because, I mean, it's worthless if it doesn't run. But this thing is genuinely so disgusting, I don't even want to sit in it to crank the engine over. So we're going to start by cleaning it today. As you can see, this is not really a place I want to be right now, to be sitting and cranking this engine. So let's do a little automotive archaeology and see what's lurking under here. We got some Tylenol in here. That looks like something. This is really quite old. Yo, that's probably still good. I mean, what is that? This one looks good still. Eat it. Great. Eat it. This guy was also avid chain smoker. So you can imagine what it smells like in here. There's some Monopoly money in here. And I mean, looking behind the seat that, again, is not connected to anything. This guy loved his Mountain Dew. He really did. And believe it or not, when I first bought this truck, I opened the glove box and there was a chimichanga in there, unfortunately, and it was quite ripe. And you can see what we're looking at here is some clutch parts. And this thing actually does have a new clutch master cylinder, new clutch throwout bearing, and all that stuff. So yeah, without further ado, obviously, the first thing we want to do is get this thing cleared out. Luckily, the seat's not even bolted down, so we can pull this out and start just seeing what we're working with here. Hey, watch the carpet. This thing's nice. What's it stuck on? Oh. Look at the color of this passenger seat compared to everything else. Genuinely, what happened right there? This is almost like, Sam.
What is this?
Okay, so there's a couple things under here. That was an ash. What? Is that moonshine? Maybe it was he's running some moonshine. I mean, oh, this must have gone with the happy feet. This is a full set. You, Sam. Here, happy birthday. That. But I mean, to be honest, there's no rust on the interior. If you were in the Midwest, this whole floor would be rusted right out, but a lot of Doritos still in here. But we're gonna hit this thing with the shop vac. And I mean, there's a lot of cigarette butts and stuff in here. There's still a long way to go. We haven't even touched the seat yet. And this is just, it's bad. One thing I've been meaning to do since I bought this thing is get rid of this crusty steering wheel cover. Hopefully it's okay underneath, because I mean, this thing is nasty. Oh no. It looks okay. It looks better than it did, actually. Alrighty, yeah, we don't need that anymore. Also, I've been meaning to just, oh no, he is really, okay. Well, I could have been a little more gentle with that. Whoops. All right, well, as you can see, we've got most of the big stuff vacuumed up, but there are just stains. I want to do my best to try and keep this carpet and see if we can get this smelling right. Just gonna get in here now with the scrub brush and just see if I can agitate these stains. And this is something I'm definitely wearing the gloves and the mask for. One thing that this truck was missing was a rear view mirror, and I pulled a new one from the scrapyard. Another one of the many mysteries of this truck is the cigarette lighters, more specifically why there isn't one. I was able to pick up the piece that goes in here from the pick and pull and just plugs right in. I don't know if the 12 volt is gonna work on this, but at least it's gonna fill this little hole. There we go, and now we got a cigarette lighter. Hopefully it works, but at least it plugs the hole, right? think we got this interior in presentable order. You might notice that I covered up the little hole that this guy made with just some adhesive, like stick-on vinyl. eBay's cheapest floor mats fit pretty well in this interior. Obviously, they're a lot darker gray, but they kind of clean up the whole look, and the seats look way better than they did before. Adding the steering column was just the last piece of the puzzle to make this thing look like a actually complete interior that someone would want to actually sit in. Now we got a basically complete interior, so we can kind of start working on everything else. Another thing that really needs done on this truck is a new tailgate handle. It's just completely full of rust. I picked up a brand new one on eBay. I think this is around $18, super cheap. It's a very simple install besides the corroded hardware on the inside, which I'm gonna have to probably cut. Should be a relatively simple install. This one was easy. This one, not so much. The actual threaded part is just spinning in the plastic, and this bolt's not going anywhere. We're just gonna have to cut it out. Get a fresh coat of paint on this rear bumper next. Basically just gonna get the wire brush, scuff down all this rust, throw some black paint on it, and it should look a million times better. I guess I was in sort of a painting mood at this point, so I touched up the passenger mirror as well as the marker lights on both sides. I continued on by wire brushing all the rust off this headache rack and then spraying it with some bed liner. One big cosmetic issue that I've wanted to address with this truck since I bought it was the front bumper. The rust is fine, it can always be sanded and painted. However, there was a big dent right here and I really wanted to get it replaced. Unfortunately, it fought me the whole way taking this thing off. I had to cut, I think, almost every single bolt off this thing. But we got it loose now and just pops right off. It's not quite popping yet. There we go. Another big issue was that the turn signals didn't work, and the new bumper I picked up does have the signals in them, so hopefully that solves this problem. Here's what our new bumper looks like. Got this thing off Facebook Marketplace. It's in really good condition. Only paid 50 bucks for it. The only modification I had to make was do a little bit of soldering to make the wiring work for these blinkers. Apparently there was some change up in the amount of wires they use for the turn signals between years. But I got that all set up. The blinkers in this work now, which is great because they did not work in the old bumper. So let's get this thing put on the truck. With the cosmetics of this truck, since I bought it, I really wanted to get rid of the little like style stripes. I don't know what they were. on the sides here, and unfortunately they were adhesived on and screwed on. I don't know why. Had to drill out those screws, but we got them off, and the adhesive has left quite a bit of residue. So we're gonna do something that I've been waiting to do for a long time, and that's just power wash this truck. That's what about, I don't know, 40 years of neglect looks like. That just came right off the paint. Alrighty, while I'm hosing out the bed of the truck here, I want to give you guys a little more backstory. So when I bought this truck, not only was the interior full of garbage, but so was the bed, and this thing was basically being used as a private garbage dump, and I'm pretty sure this truck was headed for the scrapper right before I bought it. So trying to kind of give this thing a second lease on life, it just really had a rough time before me. This right here is, I think, the worst rust spot on the body here. Just gonna pick away at it till we can see where the actual rust ends. Then we'll get the wire brush out and clean up all this rust so that it doesn't come back. Got the part of the truck we want to paint masked off. Got a turbo can with bed liner, and we're just gonna just give it a nice little coat of bed liner right there. You know, the classic how to cover up rust on an old truck. Of course, we sanded the rust and primed it so it won't actually come back, but this will just kind of cover up all the imperfections and kind of help make this truck look a little better. As for new wheels and tires, I got a fresh set of white wagon wheels off Facebook Marketplace with some old winter tires attached for 80 bucks. Are these brakes crusty and in desperate need of replacing? Yes. Do these white wagon wheels look sweet? Also yes. Okay, so let's get to talking about what's actually making this truck not run. So this truck right here is a 1986 and a half Nissan D21. It's sort of the gap year between the Datsun 720 and the Nissan Hardbody, like this one right here, that we all know and love. Now this engine right here, which is the 4-cylinder Z24, was used in all the Datsun 720s and a lot of the D21s up until they switched to K24. Now this is a super reliable, dependable engine. However, the fueling system does leave something to be desired, specifically in the fact that it's throttle body injected. It's really an antiquated, rudimentary system, and the fuel injector and all the electronics and all this stuff goes bad very easily and very commonly on these trucks. I've been trying to find a replacement throttle body for this truck. They're impossible to come by. I've been scouring junkyards for months, haven't been able to find one, and the ones available on eBay are ridiculously expensive. So we're going to just be ditching this problematic throttle body injection system altogether, switching it to a reliable Weber carburetor, and that should solve all our problems and make it reliable for the next owner. In order to do all that though, we got to ditch this whole throttle body injection system, pull all this stuff off, and get ready to install our new carb kit. So let's get to that. The fine craftsmanship of the previous owner is on display here. with all this JB weld. All right, so we got our Weber carburetor installed right here. It still is definitely gonna need some tuning, but let's give it a little chance to fire up. It is like 30 degrees outside right now, and also this truck has not run in a long time, so not a lot is working for it, but hopefully we get a little bit of life out of this thing. All right, got a battery thrown in this thing. I'm gonna let the fuel pump prime. A little bit of exhaust smoke coming off the headers, but yeah, she's idling. A lot of exhaust smoke coming off the headers actually. Idling at about, 1200 RPM right now. It doesn't seem to want to idle any lower than that, but I can rev it up a little bit and you can hear the glorious, basically straight pipe 4-cylinder. She's running. It's got a lot of holes in the exhaust. I don't know if you can hear. It's essentially straight pipe. The muffler's pretty rusted out. The cat, the O2 sensor, previous owner took that out, so there's a huge hole in the cat. So she's loud. It's idling pretty smooth, right at like 1100 RPM. That's a little bit of a high idle, but it's not that big of a deal. This truck has seen worse. And as for the engine, it's hard to hear over the exhaust, but there's not a lot of valve train noise. It sounds pretty good. I've checked the oil. There is oil in the engine. And yeah, she's running all right. Let's take her for a test drive. The tag on this thing was from 2010, so this might be the first time this thing's moved under its own power for, what is it, 15 years? So let's put it in gear, hope we have a transmission, hope the clutch is all right, and take it for a spin. The clutch is loud, get ready. See if it's got any reverse. It does have reverse. The steering, I think the power steering, if this truck ever had it, is dead. The brakes are working kind of well. There's a pretty bad clutch noise. Ah! The steering is so bad. Oh! That was second gear though, we're in second. The steering is so bad on this thing. This is not an amazing driving experience, but it does stop, which is better than I thought it would. Yeah, it drives. Oh, grab second there. It doesn't seem to want to go much faster than this. Ugh. The reverse is actually really good. And the brakes are not as bad as I thought they would be, but the steering is shockingly bad. We're doing 85 according to this. Ooh, money shift. But we came to a stop. Don't sound pretty. Does not sound good. But hey, we're cruising. We are cruising. Oh. 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 The speedometer says we're doing 95. But I'd say relatively successful. Gotta love throwing new shiny parts on old rusty junk. And so here's where we're at. This truck has come a long way since it first rolled off the trailer into this driveway, but it still does have a long way to go. The transmission and clutch definitely needs some more work, and the power steering needs worked on, but this truck came to me completely not running, and we got it running and driving down the road, and I think that's a huge win. The truck also cosmetically looks a ton better. Obviously, this paint is destroyed. It needs a full respray. Of course, there's a crack in the windshield and a bunch of other little imperfections like that, and it needs some body work here and there. But all in all, this truck has been the biggest project I've ever undertaken, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Obviously, it's not perfect, but I mean, this truck was pretty bad when we started, and I think we've turned it around quite a bit. This project has been in the works for a really long time, so thank you all for sticking with me. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.